everyone, it's Carol here at Aakash Journals, and I just thought I would touch base with you, pop in to say hi and hello and hope you're all well. One or two of you have been in touch to ask if everything was all right with me. Bless you, thank you so much for asking. And yeah, everything is absolutely fine. I've just been taking a little bit of time out from posting videos. I have been posting my weekly assignments for Marguerite Miller's Collage Weekly Planner project, but not really much else, and I do apologise about that, but I've just been taking a little bit of time out here at home to do some decorating and make some interior furnishings, so that's really been keeping me busy. Plus there's been a couple of breaks away and the odd antique and collectors fair that I've been browsing around. So really I've been concentrating on that. I haven't been doing as much crafting or as much sewing as normal, but I have been crafting. So let's park all the boring stuff and I'll show you what's on my desk. Well, I have this, and these are some journals that are in the process of being made. I've got 13 here. I've got 2 here that are taken, but I will have 11 in due course that will be available in my shop. Now there's a long way to go on these, and I'm not taking any reserve orders. They will be just going into my shop when they're ready, but I will do a full flip through beforehand so that you can see what they look like. So these are the signatures. They're not decorated at all or with minimal decoration at the moment. I'll just show you a couple, and they all look very much the same, as you can see, just different coloured leaves on the front. And these are leaves out of my garden, and they're in waxed paper. And then all the papers inside are vintage papers. This is from an old signalling book. Tea stained, coffee stained papers, just done a little stitching there, and I've made some stamped tabs to go inside. I've got a box here of bits and bobs that I'm working on, and if I open this up, I've got more of the tabs that I've been making ready to go inside these little journals. What else in terms of papers? Well, this I've been eco dyeing, so these are some eco dyed papers from my latest batch. They're very subtle. There's handmade papers in here, as you can see, quite sheer, the usual ones from the Observer books. Some graph paper. This is some more of my latest batch of eco dyed paper. And this is some temple paper, Japanese temple paper. Reinforce some of this vintage music paper here. So as you can see, I've done very little inside. This is one that page that I'm working on at the moment. I did do some of these. I'm not too happy with these, so I will be replacing these. The leaves that I used were a bit too fragile, and some of them have cracked. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Some of them have cracked, so I need to redo those. And yeah, that's just that is pathetically as far as I've gone. So you have the waxed leaf at the front, and then there is a pocket at the back. So they all look roughly the same. The handmade paper inside might be slightly different, like this one. It's got some little tiny pieces inside, as you can see, but they all have a nice variety of papers. I'm not sure which handmade paper I put in that one, or this is a slightly different one. That's grey. Gorgeous sound to them. So those are in the process of being made, so let's pop those to one side. And if I bring in this little box, this is some of the bits and bobs that I've been making. There will be some slides going in. Now these are slide binders, vintage slide binders, and I was not too sure about whether I would use these or not in these little journals. I'm thinking that they might be on the big side, although they are nice and robust with them being plastic, and they have 2 parts to them. If I can get one of the other parts. come out. There we go. They come in two parts, and you put whatever it is inside and sandwich the two parts together. And once you clip them together, I'm not going to press them hard because once they're clipped, they're solid. I was thinking that that would be quite nice to do, and have those in my journals, and maybe collage around the outside, but I can make some smaller ones if need be. So I'm still pondering those, but if I do, then I have this lovely box of vintage ones that I can use. I've lifted out some of my eco dyed fabric and also some of my rusted fabric, and these, these pieces will be going inside the journals as well. So I've got some of those pieces ripped and torn, ready to go in. So those are off to one side. They've all been washed and laundered, ready to be used. I've got these subtraction cards, and I decided that I would decorate these, and the one that gave me the idea was this one that I had in my stash, and I've just used some of the Tim Holtz collage tissue paper and covered it over and put an eyelet in the corner, and I thought, oh, that might be a nice rustic inclusion to use inside the journals. So I had a little bit of play. This one, as you can see, I've rounded off all the corners, so it is slightly smaller, and stitched it. I didn't have any more of this tissue paper left over, so I used a nice napkin, and I've done a bundle of these, and I've just stitched around them roughly. Not sure whether or not I'm going to leave these threads on or cut them off, but as you can see, they're in the process of being made. I was playing with these yesterday and stitching them last night. So what I need to do now is put an eyelet in that top left hand corner and put some dangles on, because I thought I would put a dangle or a charm on them before they go in the journal. So I've been playing with those, so they're to be finished off. I've also been making some tea bags. If you've watched Shabby Soul, she was making tea bags and decorating those, so I've made a load of these to go inside my journals as well. So I had great fun making these. I have made them before, but seeing Suze's recent video reminded me of them, and I thought it'd be fun to decorate some more tea bags and include them in the journals. I'm trying not to have the journals looking pristine, although how you saw them just now, they were looking pretty clean. I want to have a semi-shabby look to them, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to achieve that. So as you can see, I've just made a bundle of these using some indenture paper inside, and some fern leaves, and some of the tiny Tim Holtz labels on the strings and also on the fronts and the backs. So I've got a bag of those ready to go in. I've also made some handmade paper and embedded some leaves in the handmade paper and stitched round them, as you can see here. So I've got different shapes, different sizes, but what I particularly like is the fact that the leaves are a nice rich russet red on one side and a nice orangey colour on the reverse. And that was the first one I made, with just a leaf from one of the hornbeam hedges that we have here, and I grunged it up with some paint. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see that. What have I got that I can turn over? If I put that behind, you can see the paint on it. So I had fun making those, and I'm thinking about stitching those into the journals as well. I've got some little embellishments here that I was playing with. These are just little clusters, if you will, of embossed paper, embossed vellum, German book text, some stamps, some fabric, and I've just put it onto scraps of tea stained bag or coffee stained bag. So I made a wodge of those yesterday. I think this one is my favourite. This was the very last one I made at the end of the day, and I didn't really have the right shape of paper left over. So I ended up putting more collaging on it, and that one has actually turned out to be my favourite. But as you can see, I've stitched all of those. So I've also been putting some stamps onto fabric. I always think they look quite pretty. And as you can see from this first one, I'm going to back them with some German book text. This is some vintage lace that I'm planning to use in the journals, behind these actually. And this came from an antique and collectors fair I went to last weekend. I managed to get a massive bag of old laces, so it took me 3 days to wash and launder all of that and press it. But this is some of the lace, and at first I was thinking I wouldn't probably use this because of the colour, but it's going to be perfect for my journal. So I've ripped off some pieces of that to use. What else? I've been making some bookmarks, and these I've made with some ledger paper, and they have a little pocket at the side, and all I've done is I've put a flashcard inside the pockets. They're one of the little French flashcards. These want some more embellishing before they go in the journals, but I've got a load of those ready to go in. They're a bit big, but I think they'll be all right. I've also been collaging onto some tea bags that I've opened out, and I'm not sure if I will use these in the journals or not. Some of them I'm pleased with, like that one. Some of them are a bit too nondescript, I think, like these two. I'm not too happy with how they turned out, and I'm not sure how to remedy that without doing something completely different on top. But some of them have worked out quite nicely, some not so nice. So I'm not sure if I will use these or not, because I want the journals to look ostensibly the same when I put them in my Etsy shop. So I have those if I want to use them. I mean, I've still got loads of things to make. And finally, something else that I've done are these little snippets. These have all got pictures on and Tim Holtz labels, and these are all on indenture paper. And if I just quickly go through them, as you can see, they're all very much the same, very cute. And then I did a few of them that haven't got any images on at all, that are just writing like these, and I like these equally as much. I like using these where they've got an embellishment at the start of the chapter in the book, some of the other ones, and then reverting back to some of the old ones. And then there was that one as well. And then this little one, again, I seem to do one at the end that is completely different from everything else, and that was another one that I made right at the end. So that's where I've got to so far. Still a lot of embellishing to do. I haven't even started really, but I just thought I would share these bits and bobs with you, and hopefully you'll see the end product and a nice flip through in the not too distant future. So until then, everybody, keep safe, keep happy, enjoy your crafting, enjoy the sunshine if you've got lovely sunny weather like we have here in the UK, and if you're down under and you're going into your winter, enjoy the cool. So bye bye from me for now. Bye.